Welcome to Hidden Squidz Gaming. The Hag prototype, in my opinion, is one of the easier bosses you're going to go to in the darkest dungeon. The greatest error that can happen while fighting the Hag is fighting it for the first time and then bringing only front row hitters, like I did when I only brought in a leper and a crusader as damage. The main difference between the first phase and last phase of the Hag is really just HP, dodge, and HP of the pot. Therefore, the fight really does not change too much between the three phases. Stunning the Hag is really never an option, as it has 100% at the first level, and that only increases as you go up more in the phases. And what I mean by phases is the Wizened Hag is the first one you fight, Hag is the second one you fight, and the Hag Witch is the third one you fight. So when I say phase 3, I mean the hardest, phase 1 the easiest, and phase 2 the second hardest. First, let's go over the main purpose of the Hag. Putting you in the freaking pot, man. That is it. It damages you per hero's turn, not round, and it will spill you out at death's door. Use this aspect to your advantage, since a hero will not straight out die in the pot. However, they can die if the Hag does go before the healer can, thus RNG will decide your fate. The Hag has a couple of other abilities that are not too game ending. First one's obviously into the pot, where she tries to put you into the pot. At phase 3, this is 123% accuracy. You're probably not going to be able to dodge that reliably, but there is a chance you have like 50 or 60, you can reduce that to a 70% chance. Second is Tenderizer, where this ability is actually easier to dodge, and it really doesn't do too much damage. The two big ones that are really going to hurt are Seasoned to Perfection, where it's going to debuff the individual when an individual is in the pot. That means it can make anyone who is outside the pot have 25% less damage and accuracy. And the last one is Taste the Stew, where she's going to heal herself for 14 when an individual is in the pot. These abilities are used when they're in the pot, but they can affect heroes outside of the pot. If you need one word of advice on how to beat the Hag, you must decide either the pot or the Hag. I would go with the Hag 9.5 times out of 10, because the way I like to do it is bring in 3 damage dealers, but we'll talk about different ways you can do this. So one way to do it is, you can bring in people who are dodge heavy. So using campfire skills that increase dodgeability across all individuals will be beneficial, and maybe having an anti-corium will also help increase your dodge chance. However, the only downside to this is, if someone gets grabbed before you can build enough dodge debuffs on them, you may not have a damage to reliably get them out of the pot or focus the Hag. However, if you have 2 heavy damage dealers and the anti-corium or your healer get grabbed, I still believe you'd be able to damage through the Hag in the end, since her other damage ability, Tenderizer, only has an accuracy of 108. The second way to do it is just massive DPS and crit. My advice is to bring along 3 heavy damage dealers for the 3rd and 4th rows, since the pot takes up the first 2 rows. Most likely one of your damage dealers is going to get grabbed into the pot. That would be the worst case scenario. If your healer or someone that's a support role gets grabbed into the pot, that really may not be the end of it. So do not split damage in this role. You will not have the heals or time or dodge to get out of this. It is full fire on the Hag. I would not focus the pot at all. Once the individual is low, they will get spilt out of the pot, and hopefully the fight will be over before that. The Hag's dodge is only 28, which is really not that bad. And her HP is pretty low, only sitting at 135 in normal mode. This can literally be about 6 to 7 attacks if you average 20 per hit, which is not that hard to do with level 3s and level 6s. And if you get a lucky 40 to 60 hit crit, you're almost halfway through the fight. A couple of good damage dealers for this are the Houndmaster, Hellions, Man-at-Arms, Highwaymen, and possibly a Damage Jester for that finale. This is not a dot damage fight, but do not be hesitant to use melee abilities that may be associated with bleed. I would not focus on abilities that do more bleed than not raw damage, but if bleed's a side effect of it, I would use it. The Hag's bleed resistance is only 60%, which is why I recommend abilities like Slice It Off from the Jester, because it would probably add bleed and still do a decent amount of physical damage. And a Houndmaster's basic attack is also really good. I wouldn't use the one that hits all rows, I would just use the basic one that focuses a target. It adds a little bit of bleed, which is nice per round. The Hag's strongest asset is the element of surprise for the first time, but once you're aware of what the Hag's trying to do, she's probably one of the easiest ones to dispatch at all levels. Next time, we'll deal with the Swine Prince. Thank you, and like and subscribe below.